I can't tell what you're seeing. I would have realised. Okay, gosh, take two. I've just been spouting forth about pinhole quilting on my personal Facebook page, so I'm going to do take two. Because I've got some of my lovely pinhole quilting customers are also friends, Only Di and a couple of other people, some of my friends were wondering, why is Liz talking about quilting on Facebook? So anyway, welcome to Pinhole Quilting. Facebook Live, I will do take two. And actually, to be honest, it's so hot here that I was probably talking a bit of, I'll be more focused. Welcome to Pinhole Quilting. It is very hot here, and I am going to be wilting by the end of today because our showroom gets quite warm here. We've had a wonderful week. It started on Monday. Well, most of our weeks start on a Monday. That's nothing new. But we had Liz from Scotland come down with her lovely husband. And Liz has, since we started in 2017, her husband was one of our first customers, and he phoned us up and wanted orders. I think it was a bit of a surprise. And they started with the FAF. And then Liz upgraded it to a Simply 16, which we have in our showroom right now. They brought it down on Monday morning. Liz wanted to trade it in, and yesterday they came to the showroom with the large dog, Shawnee. What's it called? Shawnee. And Shawnee and the Amara were in the back of the car. Definitely not a Jack Russell or a Chihuahua, not a lap dog. And Shawnee looked a bit disconcerted that the route back to Scotland was not going to be quite as comfortable as the route down. And anyway, the Amara went back in the car. And by the time Liz got back up to Scotland, we'd sold her Simply 16 to a lovely lady called Cornelia. And she had visited with her daughter, Roxana, and Roxana's daughter, Maya, who is a little Energizer bunny. A 2.5-year-old who ran around the showroom in the heat and didn't seem to be fazed at all by the heat. She's the same age as granddaughter Emily, and who we'd seen the day before, who has about as much energy. So Liz was chuffed to bits. By the time she got back, I phoned her up and said, Liz, your machine is sold. So that's the kind of thing that we can do. You know, buying a Handi Quilter, it's quite possible that at some point in the future, when you buy it, you don't know what your aspirations are going to be. You don't know where your long arm journey is going to take you. And quite often, it takes you in a direction that may be different to what your expectations are. And that means that you might want to change it. So we can help facilitate that. We act as a broker, or it might be that, life takes you in a different direction. So we do help people in that respect, and you'll see from time to time, if you're here for a reason, you might have been sent one of our email newsletters, and you'll see second user machines. For example, the one I'm sitting at today is a lovely 2013 HQ Suite 16. And the HQ Suite 16 I sold to a lovely lady who lives in Evesham called Raquel, and Raquel bought this from me when I was working at the Cotton Patch, and I remember it well because Raquel bought it when she was in the UK about to move out to Spain, and she wanted it sent out to Spain, and I said, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. So we shipped it out there, and it was funny because she and her husband, Frank, they were in the showroom yesterday dropping it over. And she recounted how... We are live now, Pete, aren't we?
We are live, yes.
Hooray! Have we got people watching? Not just my friends on my personal Facebook page who are probably puzzled as to why I was talking about pinhole quilting. Do I need to say hello to anybody? Shall I just continue my story about Raquel and Frank?
Well, finish that story and then we'll say hello to a few people. All
right, well, I'll just finish the story about Spain and Frank. So, So Raquel phoned Frank and said, Frank, has the machine arrived? She was quite anxious about Suite 16 arriving with the big table and everything. And Frank said, no, it hasn't arrived yet. And he was joking. It had arrived. It's just the sense of humor. It was really funny. So anyway, all these years later, and Raquel wanted to trade her machine in, and she's put a deposit down on Amara. That's very exciting. So we want to help her sell her Sweet 16. So last night I put it up on our website. It is for sale. It comes with a ton of accessories. I upgraded it. I serviced it. When did I service it? 2019. I upgraded it to have the latest features. It has the basting feature. It has all of the latest features that mean that you can use it with True Stitch. True Stitch? True. True Stitch. Did you make a coffee or we got a squash? Just squash.
I made you squash.
You made me squash. You made me squash. Elderflower squash, which is lovely. Best I don't have another caffeine, actually. I've had my quota. So it has got all the latest features. Basting stitch. It's True Stitch compatible. It's Insight Table compatible. And it's got 3.5 million stitches. It is a superb machine, not just because I've serviced it and I know it's a really well-timed machine, and it is. It absolutely is. I'm going to stitch on it in a moment. Well, actually, I'm going to do it when we do the practical part of this session. It is absolutely gorgeous. It comes with all the normal accessories you would get. I've listed it all on our website. It has 2 side tables as well. You can see it all detailed on our website, and it's immaculate. It is so beautifully clean. Comes with the bobbin winder. It's got the True Stitch manual. And I absolutely love the Sweet 16, and this is a very lovely example. Beautiful, beautiful machine. So there we go.
Let's
go ahead,
say hello to a few people then.
Yeah,
so
go.
Maya is with us this morning, as usual. And
hi, Maya.
So is Michaela. Michaela, terrible things happening in Germany. I'm pleased to read that you're fine. That's really good.
That is
but
awful things.
Absolutely terrible.
I'm so sorry.
My son lives in Germany too. He's fine. He lives on the 5th floor, so he's okay.
Yeah, he's in Cologne.
We've also got Anne Pryor.
Oh, hi, Anne. I have some lovely photos, and I hope you had a very good trip up to Scotland. No, is that Anne?
Anne Pryor. Yes, I think so.
Who was Anne?
Julie Hackett. Sue Dutton, very hot in Oxfordshire. I think it's hot all over the UK today. Maureen, good morning. You join us every Saturday. Lynda, our ambassador. Morning,
hi, Lynda. I've just been messaging with you, haven't I, Lynda?
Jan Bevan. Morning,
hi, Jan.
Liz Copeland. So Liz is saying, looking forward to setting up her new Amara today. I've just emailed you, Liz, with some tips on setting it up.
Oh, good, because I mentioned as well. I just sent her a photo of the end of our frame, Pete.
Yeah. Morning, Maggie. Morning, Jacqueline, up in Kilmarnock.
Jacqueline, yes.
Hope you're getting on well with your new Amara.
Yes, and I've got Jacqueline. I'm going to send you some information about your saddle stool.
Yeah. Helen, good morning. You didn't miss anything, Helen, because Liz was on the wrong Facebook page to start with, so you were very late. Carolyn, the binding woman.
Yes.
Carolyn's with us. Jackie Mackey from Ireland.
And isn't it great, Carolyn? Every time we have Patrick's birthday, we know it's your birthday.
Yes.
I love that. I love it.
Jackie Mackey in Ireland.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Chris Hillier in Swindon.
Chris.
Lorraine
Fantastic.
in Northern Ireland. And we've got Sue from North Carolina. Morning, Sue. Very early morning with you.
North Carolina. I loved North Carolina when I visited in 2019. Fantastic place. I went zip. It's my screensaver of me zip lining in beautiful North Carolina.
So, lots of other people. Can't say hello to everybody.
Okay.
We're pleased to have you with us.
Fantastic. So now we're going to go through my notes. I don't think I'd get any prizes for neatness, is all I'm going to say, but I hope I can read them. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the event. Imminent event at the Festival of Quilts. Our stand will be near the VIP area. So for those of you who have purchased VIP tickets, you will not be able to miss us. You will have to walk past our stand. If we spot you, come and say hi. You can't avoid us. We will be sending out I don't have the stand number at the moment because they're reorganizing the stand numbers. So they weren't able to give me the stand number yesterday. But as soon as I have it, and on the email newsletter going out later next week, I will give you all the stand number, and it'll be on that email newsletter. So you'll be able to put it in your phone, on your calendar. If you're coming to a festival, we would love to see you. We might have a little something for you. Oh, we will have a little something for you because they're sending over a little something, aren't they?
Oh, they are, yes.
Yes, Handi Quilter is sending over a little something. So you've got to come and stop by and say hi and we'll give you the little something. I'm not going to tell you what the little something is. You'll have to come over. So come and say hi. So we'll send out a special email for Festival of Quilts. In it, we'll tell you a little bit about what we're doing, but we won't tell you everything because then it would spoil any surprises. More will be revealed. You see?
So Jane Morley says she's looking forward to trying out the insight table at Festival.
Excellent. So now I'm correct in saying on our stand plan, we have a plan. We will have the, I won't tell you any more than this, but we're going to have the Capri and we will have the Sweet 16 in the insight table. So Jane, yes, come along. You can try out the Sweet 16 with the insight table. And I personally will take you, or what day are you coming? Because I am.
Thursday.
As long as I'm not scheduled to do any teaching on that day, am I?
Can't remember.
I'm not. Pretty sure I'm not. So, Jane, if you're coming on Thursday, make sure you come in the morning because I am definitely not scheduled to do any teaching in the morning. Come by and I'll take you through the Sweet 16 with the insight table. It would be a pleasure to do that, and I can take you through all the lovely settings and things and we can have a play. Brilliant. So I'm just going to make a note. Jane Morley, Thursday. Fantastic, Jane. Right, Festival of Quilts classes. There are a few places still available for Lynda's classes that were basically put on because obviously, unfortunately, Angela Walters cannot be with us. And I was explaining to one of our other customers who emailed me about something else that, of course, we've lost not just Angela. Shall I mention this? That, we've lost other. We do get a lot of support from Handi Quilter. I just want to mention this because I don't think people realise that Handi Quilter it's an excellent organisation to work with. We get a lot of support from Handi Quilter. For example, when we have the Handi Quilter classroom, we provide the machines for the Handi Quilter classroom. But Chuck, who we work with, who's the director that we work with, Chuck Frisina, and Mark Hyland, who is like the top guy. Handi Quilter organisation is part of a larger organisation. He runs the larger organisation. And Chuck and Mark, they just spend the whole day on Wednesday, Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. They just built all of the classroom machines 2019. That's what they did. He runs the whole thing. And then on the Sunday afternoon, Chuck and Mark dismantled all those machines. They are so hands-on. I mean, that's the case, isn't it, Pete? And you'll see, Mark, he's a big guy. He's about 6'3", something like that.
He's a very big guy.
He's a very big guy. He doesn't sell Glide thread. He sells an alternative brand. He literally, I've got a picture of him picking up the Glide thread display. And he said, send this to Habendash. Picking up the whole Glide thread display and just lifting it and moving it to where I wanted it to. He's such a good guy. They are such a fantastic company to work with. And none of them could come this year. So we are 3 people down on our booth. And that's the impact of COVID. So, I know that from a consumer point of view, Angela is a massive disappointment. Huge disappointment for us, but more for our customers. But there's another impact is the fact that there's 3 people who won't be coming from Handi Quilter Corporate as well. So I would now like to just discuss with you. I know this is kind of more UK based, and I know that lots of other people from worldwide that watch this on Facebook Live. I'm going to be doing some hands-on demos, so don't go away. September workshops with Abigail. We're going to be running some September workshops. They're going to be going online for booking later this week. I've now got all of the descriptions and all the dates and everything. So they will comprise foundation workshops. For those of you who've purchased either new machines or you've purchased second user through our website and you're entitled to a foundation workshop. The foundation workshops will be running in September. I say workshops, there's Foundation and Foundation Plus. Foundation Plus will be for those of you who took part in the virtual workshops that we ran because of COVID. And if you've fulfilled all the criteria and have completed the quiz, but didn't take up the ones in July because of traveling and stuff, you didn't want to take or couldn't make them earlier, Foundation Plus is available too. There's a Dream Big workshop as well. That was really popular last time, like the Dream Big. Can you just focus? That's the Dream Big 1 meter panel. We do a quarter of it in a day, and you get to take home another quarter panel as part of the purchase.
Yeah, so a very practical class.
It's a lovely class, and I've got some fantastic photos of some of the work that the students did last time. I did some lovely close-up photographs which show the texture. We use a double bat, so that's 2 layers of wadding to really show the texture, and it's a beautiful workshop. It's a lot of fun, and it's a sit-down or stand-up workshop. So that's Dream Big with Abigail. Abigail will and I will also be running together a Rulers, Feathers and Fills like we did in July, and there will be a new project-based one, and I've forgotten to look at the title. I'll let you know. It's on an email, so that's one that I will let you know on a subsequent. There'll be a subsequent follow-up email to this Facebook Live that will go out tomorrow evening, so you'll be having something to look forward to start your week with all of this information, and I hope to get the classes up so that you can book them next week. That's September. Those are all in September. So what I'm hoping is that when this, whatever phase we're in right now, this COVID situation has perhaps calmed down. We're in July now. We're in July, aren't we? August. By September, it would be really nice to think that by September we're in sort of some kind of stability, because that's when the classes are. So I'm really hoping that.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Who knows what the future will bring?
Question in from Maureen, Liz, about the. You mentioned double wadding when you were talking about the Dream
I did.
Big.
Yeah.
Maureen's asking, what is your preferred combination for double wadding to show off the quilting?
Okay, well, that there, and what we do on Abigail's class, we do 80-20 Hobbs. That's Hobbs Heirloom. And for that class, I go all out. I treat you very special customers. I get Hobbs 100% wool for the top. Beautiful. For special Handi Quilter owners. It looks fantastic, doesn't it?
So Lynda said that for her cotton with. Right, I've lost it.
Yeah. What does Lynda use?
Cotton with wool on top.
Yep. Do you use the Hobbs wool, Lynda? Or do you use Dream wool?
I'll let you know when it comes in.
Okay, Lynda will let us know what she uses. I like the 80-20 and then the Hobbs wool. Hobbs 80-20 and Hobbs wool. It has a lovely loft to the Hobbs wool. Okay, moving on to our next point on the agenda. I feel like I'm running a meeting here. It's gone dark. Don't tell me there's a cloud in the sky. It's pure blue
there are several
sky.
clouds in the sky.
It's so bright in this showroom. Next, we are so excited. We got some great feedback on Lynda Jackson, Handi Quilter Ambassador and Educator, on her Ambassador event. This is a new concept that we're going to run in October, and it will be a Handi Quilter pinhole. It'll be a pinhole quilting event, and we're going to run it here at the showroom. And which is lovely because, you know, we've got the space here, we've got all the machines out here, and we can run it with, I checked with Lynda, we think, you know, my personal, oops, I'm touching my microphone, don't do that. My personal feeling is that we can run it with, you know, a decent number of people in here, 15 or 16 people, mixture of stand-up and sit-down customers. We've had more expressions of interest than we have places.
Yes, so you mentioned it on this event last week.
I did.
We immediately had quite a lot of expressions of interest. Now, of course, not everybody will necessarily book.
No,
so
and it depends on the pricing and all that.
It depends on the pricing, yes. And
we haven't fixed pricing.
No, we haven't.
We need to work out costings. So we are evaluating the whole event, and we will let you know in due course. The way that we see it running is it will be a 4-day event. That's the phone. Pete will get the phone. A 4-day event. And so it'll be a 4-day event that will basically be... Oh, I saw it somewhere. Oh, I'll put it back on there. So who would think it was back on the holder?
I left it where I could get it. Good morning. Hello.
I would never have looked there.
We're doing a Facebook Live, so
Pete's gone now.
Speak to you just a
So we're going to run it as a 4-day event. What was lovely about things like when Laurie Tigner came over and how we've run previous, like the whole academy thing. This isn't an academy thing because it's just one ambassador, Lynda, which is why we're calling it an ambassador event. But it's a social interaction that we get in the evening. So the plan is to make it that social interaction by having evening events where we organise a restaurant for you. We'd have either at a venue that we pick. We're looking at a very close venue that looks very nice, that has accommodation as well. Little lodges, quite rural. It's lovely. Actually, there's another place I've just thought of as well that's got lodges. Anyway, the place we're going there on Monday, Pete and I. We'll check it out. We'll let you know. And we think it's going to be a lovely event. We think you're going to love it. And it'll be fun. And it's going to be whole cloth, design, execution, brooder work. We'll tell you more in due course. But it's pretty exciting. It's going to be different from anything else that we do on those 1 days. It's going to be a little bit more involved. And of course, you get to know like-minded people. You will build your skills. And normally what we find, and I'm sure that other people who've been on our academies and things will vouch for this, that the step change you get in your confidence, your learning, and just the friendships that you build are just lovely. It really is something quite special. Right, I've talked all about that, Pete. I think I've done enough talking.
Right, in the meantime, Lynda has confirmed that she uses hobs.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect.
Somebody's asked, is there an 80-20 wool poly?
Oh, yeah, there's a Tuscany. Isn't one of the Tuscany? Doesn't Hobbs do a Tuscany?
Have a look at the Hobs range.
Have a look on. I know Cotton Patch has a lot of different ones, and I know Doughty's does quite a lot of different ones. And I'm a bit out of touch with some of the Dream ones. So first of all, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and this is as much for people who are. This is just a general sewing thing I want to just do here, and I want to talk about Raquel's machine here. Can we, how easy is it going to be to show?
You want to see the side of the machine?
Yeah, if you come round, how messy is it over there? A little bit messy. Are you okay there?
Yeah.
And I can just talk about the settings, and then we'll do the Moxie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just very loosely basted using the little tack gun around the edges of this piece of fabric. I've actually just laid an extra piece of Handi Quilter fabric over the top. Now this is a Sweet 16, as I mentioned before, that has had an upgrade to the software. If you've got a machine that has a system board that is, you can look on our website, but basically it's a board, I think it's a board 2 and firmware of, I'd have to look at the system. But I can upgrade it. I've got the software to upgrade older machines. And that's what I did with this machine. So it means that you can have things like the basting function, and it means that you can use it with machines like, you can use it with tree stitch and inside table. And I want to just baste this. Now when I'm basting on a Sweet 16, and you can baste quite big pieces, I normally release my tension, top tension, by a turn and a half, so that it doesn't really stress the thread. So on the main screen, there is a basting function. I don't really want to just see the screen. Do you want to just, can I? No, you don't. That's fine. There is a basting function. I'm just going to press that.
It's a bit tight.
Yeah, it is. And you can change it so it's a time limit. So it's half a second, or 3/4, 1 second, 1.5, or 2 seconds. So I'm going to do it on a 3/4 second delay. So I'm going to do needle down, needle up. Just pull up my bobbin threader. And I've done it so you can see this thread. When I'm do quilting later, in just a minute, I wouldn't do cream coloured thread necessarily on a black fabric. If it, just anchor that down. And now I'm just going to move the fabric so that I just do a long basting stitch. And I would do a cross to begin with. I would go up the middle, and then I would go side to side, just like you do on a normal piece of quilting. And you see it's not dragging because I've loosened that tension by a turn and a half. And I always do it by a turn and a half, so I always know how much to get it back again to what my proper tension should be. And if I wanted it a faster speed, and the distance that this is, oh, that's a bit loose actually. I might have not had that very tight. The distance is dependent on how fast I move the fabric. So if I want it closer together, I just don't move the fabric as much. That makes sense?
Because it's a time-based
Yes.
stitch. Okay.
Exactly.
So originally this 2013 machine would not have been able to do a basting
Nope.
stitch.
Didn't have basting stitch.
But
And the screen looked
software-
quite different.
Yeah, and the software has now been upgraded. So anybody with a machine with a board at a particular level
Yes.
can upgrade.
Yeah, and that's pretty much in the UK. I'd say that's probably about 2012, 2013 machines. I did write on our database when it was.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls up...
So you can always check with us.
Yeah. In the UK, you can check with us. Outside the UK, check with your dealer. And I know that it was a bit too loose. Look, it was too loose. I loosened it by a turn and a half. If you remember, I stopped and I tightened it by half a turn. I'd done it too much. So maybe, it depends on what your starting point is, but this was fine. That was a turn. So to loosen it by as much as you need. That means after your basting is done and you've done some stitches and you want to take it out, it's very easy to remove it. That was too much. That was perfect. Now I'm going to put in another line. Look, I'd probably have to do that again because that's just going to be irritating. Yeah, that's going to be irritating, isn't it? Look how easy it is. Very easy to remove. That's just too easy to remove, so I would take that out. See? But this bit would stay, and then when I do my stitching, I might just remove a bit of it as I'm stitching. And that's just the line of bobbin thread. So I would redo that. But this is just a demo. It's live. That's what happens. And now I'm going to do my vertical line from this side down.
Never work with children, animals, or basting stitches. I think the same.
I think that is a new
take on it.
New take on it, yeah. Right, so just do this one, just to show you. I've now got it set to a turn instead of a turn and a half, and this will just be perfect. And this is the open toe foot, by the way. With this machine, you get, and with any of our machines, you get an open toe and a closed toe foot. And of course, you can add any of the extra feet as you wish. Ruler foot, all that. And I like these sweet spots. And once I've done this cross through the middle, I then approach each of the sides, each of these quadrants, if you like, independently, and I baste as much as I feel is appropriate. And also, the other thing is I need to stop in the down position. There we go. And I didn't iron it, if anybody needed to know that. There we go. See, once this is basted, I'm all good to go with the quilting. And I'm just going to give you a quick demo. It's nearly 11:45. But look how lovely this sounds. This machine sounds beautiful. And at the end, I just go back one stitch. I don't really want it just falling out, because I can easily just trim that like that. Here we go. I know I've done other stitching. You can see I'm reusing this piece, but look, that's a nice basting stitch. That's going to hold it while I quilt that piece. Okay, so now change back to regular stitch.
Change your tension.
Change my tension back, one full turn. I double check it on a scrap piece before I started quilting. When I'm quilting, I don't want it to drag on my front. So I put most of my quilt here, and I'm a shover, not a roller. So I concertina everything. I don't neatly fold everything because that just creates weight. I always think that sounds like the Michael Jackson, I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I always say I'm a shover, not a roller. Right, it's got manual and regulated then. So let's just start off in manual. Pick up the thread, securing stitches. I'm going to have this as a maximum of 50%. I can go up to the speed that I set on the Sweet 16. I don't quilt at 50%. I'm not a fast quilter, but I'm just going to show you. Let's just see what the tension looks like. Just a little bit more. Get down. It's pulling up a little too much, so it's a bit tight on the top. Back it off 10 minutes. I'm going to use these actually, because these are better when you want to go faster. I just want to do a quick demo. Okay,
so what speed was that?
That was 77%. And that's stitching absolutely beautifully. You can see that.
It's difficult to see on the light fabric.
Oh
with
yeah,
the light
but
thread.
that is a absolutely gorgeous stitch. So in stitch regulated mode, I select how many stitches per inch. And in stitch regulated mode, it's quite a different feel. Let me just come over here. Oh, I need the stitch regulator. That would help. Right, this is the stitch regulator. It's a little dongle. Goes underneath your quilt. Stick a little magnet on the top of it. You can put your hand on it, and I use it with one of the So you set the number of stitches per inch.
So what have you got set there?
That's 11 stitches per inch and a cruise speed. Let me just reduce that a little bit. It's a cruise speed of 9% at the moment. You can play with this. So you can see here it's actually matching. So as I go slower, it goes slower. And as I go faster, it goes faster. Just a few swirls. I'll put it over this side. I'll increase the number of stitches and increase the cruise a little bit, just to sort of play with the different speeds. So
there we go. So this is a second user Sweet 16 that is available. So
2 side tables, true stitch, 3,500.
We ought to sort of cast it as an appeal, really. Help Raquel get her new
Amara.
So if you know somebody who like this lovely machine,
yep,
let them know, because we've sold 3 second user machines this week.
Yep. Now, the final thing, had an email correspondence with a lady who'd purchased one of our Moxies, and she said she was struggling to remember how to stop and start, and also the settings for ruler work. So I said, great, let me give you a little bit of a session on Facebook Live. So I thought, ruler base, Surefoot, and we'll just run through how to do that. So we got a little bit of time. So this is the oval.
Mini oval.
Mini oval. You always say that. Thank you. You always correct me. That's good. Mini oval, and this is it. And it creates things like this, and with the lines. And it's a lovely inside oval. And you put it on.
Yeah, it's worth pointing that out, because I've seen people struggle to see how you actually get the ruler.
It's like one of those things you get in a party cracker. You kind of wonder how you get the two little metal pieces apart. There you go. Just like that. It's like, how do you start the couching foot, isn't it?
Yes.
And also, this came up, Judy. Judy has posted a review on our handiquilter.co.uk website about the slice ruler, and we talk about this on our foundation workshop, because there's a very interesting thing. Well, very interesting thing. I think it's quite interesting, because this slice ruler is the same as the inside bit of a Versatool. And when you're doing this on your, where's the, yeah, say you're doing a grid, and you're using the Versatool, and you get to the edges. I know you won't be able to see this very easily, but say you get to the edge. I'll try and get this over here. Yeah, you get to the edge on the Versatool, and it's very difficult to get to that edge bit, because you find like that little bit at the edge is like makes it very hard and you can't see. And then you catch the edge of the Versatile. But with the slice, you can actually, you're on the outside and you can line up, because it has these lines. And you can line that up with the edge of your block. And you're not on the edge, like that sharp edge. And everybody starts with a Versatile, which is really good because you can do a ton of different designs. But if you want to do something like a block like this, and you want to do a continuous line design, the slice template is so much easier. And that's what Judy found. And she also found that this is a lot easier and much easier to grip with. And if you read Judy's review, not just me saying it, you will understand why she suddenly went from, I'm struggling with this, to, I am loving this. So I'm just going to do a quick review of the settings on a Moxie, and I'll just show you the slice ruler. Okay, so the settings for ruler work. It is much easier to be in the C, otherwise known as cruise. But again, Judy, because she is a trainer, and she taught me a whole load of stuff when I went over there, she said, cruise doesn't make a lot of sense as a name for me. And she said, I like the word C for continuous, because it continuously sews. And I thought, actually, for us English people in the UK, cruise is not a word that's it's not a word that we use a lot. But continuous, it is continuously sewing. It always sews whatever is in this box at 50 stitches per minute or whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to go into the settings. So if I go into C, choose it, this in here, I select 50 or 75 or 100 stitches per minute. It will always sew, regardless of whether you're stopped or whatever, a minimum of that. And if you're moving it, it will sew the stitches per inch of 10, 11, 12, 13, 9 or 8. So maybe that will help some people. And Judy's background is actually, she teaches people who never go to a classroom. She teaches the guys who work on the roads, highways people, the people who put traffic lights up. So she always has to come up with ingenious ways of teaching people who have to convert something to a way for them to remember. And I thought, actually, give people alternatives. Would you like to say something, Pete?
Yeah. Okay. So a question in from Helen about the slice ruler and the Versatile. So this is the Versatile, Helen, just to show it more clearly. It's the same curve, but actually it's the same angle of curve, but you can see the slice ruler is much longer. So you've got a much longer curve to work with. So it's actually probably at least 50% larger in terms of its curve, but it's the same arc. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that's really helpful, Pete. Yeah. So one of the key things about doing ruler work is what you don't want. You always want to have the needle stop in the down position. So that means that there's no drift. It means that the chance of having an accident with the needle coming down on a ruler and all that stuff, it's always less anyway, because since we've had the ruler foot, the sure foot, we've always found many less issues, as long as people remember to change it to the ruler foot. We know a few people who have gone, I don't have to change to the ruler foot. I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who you are.
So Carol says that her Moxie in C stops after 4 to 5 stitches. That's absolutely correct. It does that on all the machines. The Amara
does it too.
Does it on all the machines.
Yeah.
It's a safety feature, effectively, Carol. It stops because you're not moving the machine to do your stitch regulated stitches. So, I mean, we can demonstrate it here. If I switch this machine on, it's in cruise or continuous.
Press it.
So it's
50.
doing, but I'm not moving the machine. So it knows that I can't want to just continuously stitch on the same point. So then it just stops. However, So as long as you move the machine, it will stay on.
Yeah, let me
So
just
it's a safety
trim that.
feature, effectively.
I'll just trim that. Stop it messing up. Yeah, it's a safety feature because it's not only a safety feature. If you kept doing it in one place, it would make a real messier quilt underneath. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Helen, yes, I see what you're saying. One is an inside arc, and the
Yes.
other is an outside arc. However, there is still a longer reach,
And,
even if you take account of the ½ inch,
yep,
of the ½ inch foot, rather.
yeah, absolutely. And Helen, the other thing is, if you imagine this were on a block. Have I got a block? Yes, I got a block. I got a block. If you were lining up, this isn't obviously a particularly appropriate block to demo on, but if I were to line this up with something, I would align it to the edge of something. I've got this lovely line here, and I can hit this. I know my foot has got to stop a ½ inch eyeball. It's much harder to eyeball that a ½ inch away. Yeah? Whereas with this, I've got this line. And then eyeball ½ inch. I've got this line lining up here.
Yeah.
That's the one for me. That's what I've used. This is great for starting. But you will probably soon progress onto a slice.
So, Carol, yes, you could use that feature as a starting knot. Yes, you could, instead of using the needle up, needle down function to do your initial tie-off stitch. Definitely, you could do it that way, Carol. I hadn't thought of that.
Never thought of that at all. But you've brought us on, Carol, to is it Carol?
Carol Mann.
Okay, not Carol Mann. Carol Leyburn.
Carol Mann.
Okay. There's somebody. Well, it was because the person who asked me was a Carol, I think. Now, I'm just going to do the slice here. So if I just,
I think I'll come this side.
Okay.
Might be easier to see.
I'm just going to do half a slice down, and then I'm going to just go up, back up, so I can do a whole bit here. So just imagine. Well, I'll just chalk a line because I can.
While Liz is doing that, I'll just show you this dream bit panel with the double wadding, because actually in this light here you can see the effect of the double wadding. It really does show off the relief of the quilting very well. So, Dream Big class coming up in September.
Yep. And the Dream Big class will be getting in the Dream Big panels, and your Dream Big class will include a choice of the panel. There's different colourways.
So Carol Mann is in New Jersey, I think, is what she meant to type.
Right.
Okay.
So that won't be the Carol Mann up.
That's why we don't know you, Carol.
That's right. It won't be the Carol Mann that we sent the Moxie to, because we don't have a customer in New Jersey. And I'm always tempted to go New Jersey. Right, that's a chalked line, and I'm just going to line up one of my lines that are clearly dashed solid, so you can easily see different levels of, different lines on here. I'm going to line that up, and I'm just going to literally just move it around. It's so much easier to do that and then stop. But the next thing I wanted to mention, which also came up in the conversation with a few people recently, was stopping and starting. And what some customers I've discussed it with, they kind of get a bit lost. And gosh, no more than I did. Quick story. Have I told this story before? The what?
I don't know which story you're about to tell.
The stopping and starting story. How I thought we'd never ever get the Handi Quilter deal.
I've no idea.
Okay, right, quick story. When we first had Mark Hyland and his wife, Suzanne Hyland, come over to the UK, I'm with my dad in the shop with Mark and Suzanne. Mark, big guy, carries big loaded thread displays around the festival. He came in with the Avanti, and we'd got a frame in the shop. And he puts the Avanti on there, and Suzanne says, you know, I'll show you how to use it and everything. So we got a quilt on there. And I didn't know the technique of doing what I'm going to show you right now. So Suzanne says, right, you do this, you do this, you do this, picks up the thread. It was like smoke and mirrors magic trick. Brings up the thread, cuts it off. And I went, wow, how did you do that? So she said, oh, you just do this, 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 this. I mean, it was like a sleight of hand magician. By the time she'd showed me 6 times and I still hadn't got the hang of it, I thought, well, now this is getting slightly embarrassing because I honestly don't know what the hell she did. So I just said, can you just do it like one more time? I have to be able to remember things. I cannot just watch somebody. I cannot just have someone talk me through things. Like most of our customers, I'm a doer. But she kept just doing it instead of just talking me through it. I've learned a lesson from this. Anyway, on the 7th occasion, I thought, they are literally going to take this machine off the frame and go, we'll put it back in the box, and we're going to walk out the shop, and we're going to say to Jeff and Liz, it's been really nice meeting you, and we're going to see you later. Honestly, it was so embarrassing. And anyway, I said, I think I just need to do it. Can you talk me through it? She did that, and I got it. But every time I tell a customer, I'll just show you how to stop and start, I show them once, and then I get them to do it. You know, we all learn, don't we, how to teach from how we learn ourselves. So here we go. Stopping and starting. And there's a little... what's the word, Pete, that we call it when we have a little phrase that we have for remembering things? Is it a mnemonic? It is. You see, people who are dyslexic would never remember how to spell that, would they?
M-N.
Yeah, I'm not going to write that.
I thought you were going to write it down.
I know how to spell it. M-N. Mnemonic. But I thought anybody who's got a problem with doing this isn't going to remember that either. 1-4 quilt. 4 loop. 1. This is our mnemonic, and I'm going to show you.
Learning how to start and stop is the thing that takes new customers probably the longest to get.
It is. Into
the automatic memory bank.
Now, nobody else has ever said this to us, but this is what I use. Okay, so I'm going to just do it over here. Starting. For a start, you hold the thread in your left hand. This is for right-handed people, and if you're a lefty, you might have to design your own system. So this is your 1.
It also works for left-handed people, I believe.
Okay, good. So with your left hand, you hold the thread loosely. Don't hold it too tight, just loosely. And with your right hand, you control the handlebars. Okay, you're going to do a needle down and a needle up, and you're going to move the machine away and pick up the bobbin thread. It's black, I'm afraid, but you see there's the bobbin thread. And you're going to loosely hold both of those threads in your left hand and bring the machine back to the hole. So the needle's just above the hole that you first created. And you're then going to do 4 little stitches, slightly moving the machine away each time. 2, 3, 4. You can kind of go back over those stitches if you wish, but it's a sharps needle, and with metallic thread you can pierce it and make a right mess, so don't do that. Do a little bit of stitching, at least an inch before you trim it. This is your quilting bit.
It's true, Rosemary, sometimes we learn more from a bit of bad teaching.
We do.
We do. How not to do it.
We do. I have learnt so much from bad teaching. And I have done a lot of different teaching in my life. Hands-on. I've done a lot of hands-on teaching. You teach diving, and I tell you what, you learn a lot. Okay, when you teach diving...
This is scuba diving?
Yes, scuba diving. You cannot talk. So everything you have to teach somebody, you have to get all your communication done before you go underwater.
Well, that's not strictly true though, Liz, is it? Because when you taught me how to dive, we got down to 20 metres and then you got out a notebook and pen underwater giving me instructions. I thought I was free for a while, but I wasn't.
That is so funny. I didn't actually teach Pete. He did all his training and then he thought he was free, and I literally opened my BCD pocket and got out and underwater. That is true. Okay, fair enough. Right, we digress. This is really important, Pete.
Yes, I know. Yes.
I was just saying.
Of course, you can hold down that needle up, needle down button. Liz was doing it just for demonstration purposes, but once you're used to doing 4 stitches in a row, you just hold down that
so we've done
needle up, needle down button.
Yeah, so to review, we've done 1, 4, we've done the quilting, we digressed, and then we're doing the 4. We can go back over the line of stitches, and as you say, we could do 1, we could do that, 2, 3, 4, along the line of stitches, nice and neat. Now we go needle up, very important. The needle is up at this stage in order to do the loop. We pull some extra thread from the cone. We don't want to pull this on the stitches because that disturbs the stitches and kind of wrecks those last stitches. We then move the machine away like this, and then we move the machine back, having picked up
thread from
the thread
quilt top
to form the loop. This is the loop bit. So machine away, come back. Then we do the final, get above the last stitch you took, needle down, needle up, move the machine back, and there is our bobbin thread. You can either cut it level with your quilt because you've done your tie-offs. This is now secure. Or you can leave it long and tie your ends in. I am going to cut it level. Abigail has a different method. You come on our foundation workshop and Abigail will show you how she does hers. Beautiful. I had another note of something else I wanted to say. Oh, one more thing, Pete, before we go. Yesterday, Pete went to Cambridge and he did an installation with Anglia Ruskin University and Amara with a quilting from the back kit. Fantastic news that the university students who are in the fashion department will be using one of our lovely Handi Quilter Amaras. We are very, very excited about that. They're checking if we can use the photography that Pete did, but we're going to be involved with them hopefully in doing I would love to be involved with some of the projects there. They're extremely excited. Apparently the Potters and some of the other people were having a go and is that right, Pete?
That's absolutely correct, yes.
Tell us about it.
They were very excited. So I was teaching 2 of the trainers who would then train the students when the students recommence in September. But other people in the department had heard, so when the training was going on in the afternoon, I had several other people turn up to have a go on the machine as well, which was great. And they all loved it because irrespective of whether they were a ceramicist or a sculptor, they all had a go. And because they're creative people, they were all coming up with amazing ideas as to what they could do with this machine. Fantastic. Which was really interesting.
Brilliant. And we're about to go, well, we're going to put in, they've got to get some funding, but we will be doing, we've had one of the Handi Quilters, the big 24-inch up at Manchester Metropolitan University for the past 6 years, I think it is, 6 or 7 years with the Pro Stitcher. And we are going to go up and do the servicing on that, and I'm going to do some training up with the trainers up at Manchester Met probably next month, and they're very excited to get the latest upgrades so that we can roll out some more training for their students ready for the start of September as well. So that's pretty exciting. That's for their department as well, their art department.
Okay, and a quick question from Rosemary before we go.
Yeah.
Does the True Stitch Regulator work with the FAF Power Quilter 16?
Yes. It does.
Simple answer to that, Rosemary. Yes,
Absolutely.
it does. And in fact, we have new True Stitches available. We've got a couple available at a special offer price. We do. And I might need to check if I've got some second user ones because I was going to get some of those up. So I'll just make a note. Which Rosemary is that? Rosemary Muntus. Oh yeah. Let me have a look, Rosemary. I'll let you know.
for FAF. Yeah, it definitely works for the FAF.
Right, 10
Fantastic.
past 12. We were 10 minutes late getting started.
We were,
possibly.
because we're working on Worcestershire time and Liz time, which is always a little later than everybody else's time. Okay, fantastic. Well, I think, you know, it's a very exciting time for us. We've been really busy, haven't we, Pete? And lots going on, and Festival of Quilts planning. Can't wait to tell you about what's happening at Festival. Book Lynda's classes if you're coming. If you're not interested in Lynda's classes, just come and see us anyway. Pick up your free gift. Come and say hi at a distance. We'll hand you the gift and enjoy. And we look forward to seeing you next Saturday. And take care, everybody. All right, bye now.